Hello everybody and welcome to Awesome Comics, your one-stop shop for everything comic book entertainment. I am your host, Walter Benaziak. Before we get started with the introduction of our panelists here today, I wanted to thank you guys for commenting on the last few videos and suggesting what we should cover on the show. Please keep commenting, keep telling us what you want to see in the show, and we will make sure to look over it. And we're reading all those comments, and we're going to try to cover as much of what you guys want us to cover as possible. We are listening, so thank you very much for commenting. The show length. So we talked about last time trying to make these shows longer. We all want them longer. Unfortunately, right now, it's not going to be possible until our audience grows a little bit more. So the way you can help with that, go ahead and share the video around to your friends, anyone who you think would be interested in this kind of show, this kind of like panel type discussion. And the more, the bigger we get, the more likely it will be for us to have longer episodes. Once in a while, we'll still be able to have longer ones, and we'll talk about that later. I also wanted to say that I know that a lot of people in the comments are talking about why aren't we talking about comics specifically. Fear not, folks. Okay, in a couple of weeks we will be doing a mostly all comic book show. And remember to always stick around, because at the end of the show we always have our pick of the week, which is always at least one comic book talking about somehow tying into what our main discussion is. So, okay. Also, on this episode, make sure you stick around for after our Supergirl discussion, because we're going to have an interview with our very own James J. Ross. He is going to give us a little tour of the costumes and stuff for Nostalgia Critic. So Heather, our friend, is going to interview him. And that's going to be after this titillating discussion? Is that the right one?
Okay.
Yes. Okay, sure. Well, let me introduce you guys first. Okay, to my left, you know this guy. His name is Mr. Brian Porter. How's it going there?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
All right.
You ready to talk about Supergirl? Well, he's ready. Okay. And over here, who do we got? What's your name again?
Ayanna Wade.
Ayanna Wade.
Yes.
We are going to be talking about season 1 of Supergirl today, everybody. Supergirl is a show that is kind of divisive, as right now it has not been renewed for a season 2, but we're here to talk about season 1, and I wanted to know your guys' thoughts on it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the characters on the show. So we have Supergirl, we have Jimmy Olsen, we have a couple recognizable characters from the Superman comics and stuff, and a bunch of new characters. So what did you guys think of this cast and the characters?
It's a very charismatic cast. It's a very earnest attempt at Supergirl herself. I really like Melissa a lot. I like Kyler is really likable. Whether or not you like her character, I really like her as her character. I really like Jimmy Olsen and Wynn. Like their little trio they got going on is just super, super likable. I like the cast.
Okay, Porter?
They got a good dynamic together. Wynn, for the most part, is pretty okay. Like, he had some better moments later on in the season. Melissa Benoist is fantastic as Supergirl. She's so likable, and she's believable. She, looks great in the costume. She is fantastic. I love everything about her. Jimmy Olsen, that's not Jimmy Olsen. I don't.
Why is it not Jimmy Olsen?
You take, Jimmy Olsen, medium height, nerdy, redheaded, kind of, not loser, but he just follows everybody. He's not his own man, I think a lot of the time. And you turn him into this 6'2" model type black guy. He's full of charisma and charm. He's dating Lucy Lane, and then he has a thing for Supergirl, and they're together. And it's just Supergirl would never date Jimmy Olsen in the comics, ever. I don't think that would happen. And it didn't seem like Jimmy Olsen. That guy's character worked in the show, but I don't think that was Jimmy Olsen. It didn't even seem like any Jimmy Olsen I've ever seen.
Okay. And what did you think of his thoughts on Jimmy Olsen?
I disagree. I think he's super charismatic, which you did say, but I like the progression they're able to do together with Supergirl and Jimmy. I think it fits. I think it, I was sort of rooting for Wynn for a little bit, but then I changed my tune, and I'm rooting for Jimmy.
I think
Supergirl personally.
I think with Jimmy, with how kind of awkward and stuff she is in the show, regular Jimmy Olsen, they could have had a thing together.
Yeah, but when is that though in the story? You want them all to be three really awkward, terrible, fumbling people together?
It's like they took Jimmy Olsen, kind of gave most of his personality traits to Wynn because they needed to, up the hot factor.
They did
for
a
the
little
show.
bit.
And
They
it's
did a
like,
little
Up the hot factor.
It's like they did it. They didn't do it as a character.
They didn't
choice.
need another white guy in the show, though. They cast a little diversely, which is nice to see.
Then just make a specific character to cast that guy. I mean, like, just don't change a character because, okay, we need to make it diverse and we need a hot character and we need to have like a different personality. It's a completely different personality for Jimmy Olsen.
We have to talk about Martian Manhunter / Hank Henshaw in this. Right, / John Jones. He's in this show, and I think like that character really grew on me as the show went along, as the whole show did. Even at first, with everything, I was kind of like, oh no. But as it went along, I got more and more comfortable with it, and he was one of the main reasons why I really like Martian Manhunter in the show. Anna, what'd you think?
I loved Martian Manhunter. I was super stoked when we realized who he was when he did his whole revealing thing. I really like him as a character, so I was really excited to have him as a character on the show. And I like too that because he's so powerful that they kind of had to keep him reserved by being able to keep his secret identity, I would say. And then also there being white Martians that could sense where he was and stuff. I think there's a lot of room to grow with his character now, specifically, and I really like the way they covered it. The whole they totally went into his story back on Mars and all that, which was really, really cool. I liked his look. I thought his look was really great. They handled it pretty well. I really like him on the show. I hope we see a bunch more of him.
I agree. Porter?
I liked him a lot too. Initially, I wasn't a super huge fan. They're like, oh, it's Hank Henshaw. I'm like, oh, Cyborg Superman. That's going to be cool. And then Martian Manhunter, I'm like,
huh? What?
And then he got that name and all that stuff, and he is John Jones, and it's just like, okay, it's an interesting choice, but him as, Hank Henshaw, John Jones, like, he was a great character outside of being Martian Manhunter. I liked him a lot. He felt very John Jones.
I want to go to a couple of the positives of the show. We're going to go positives and negatives. What was some of your guys' favorite episodes? You got a couple, Ayana?
Yeah, I liked the Toy Man one. What was that one called?
Childish Things.
Childish Things,
Yeah,
yes. That one was
too.
super good. I liked there was like a deeperness to that episode, talking kind of about like mental instability and genetically, like Wynn was really scared that he like had a predisposition to like go a little crazy and stuff.
Right.
And they handled that really well, I thought.
I liked World's Finest, the crossover between Flash.
Yeah, let's talk about that episode. Okay.
It was great.
So, Flash comes into the Supergirl universe. They kind of explained it on Flash, like just this past week. And even though this episode is like weeks old, almost a month or something. And it was like on Flash, they kind of just like he's gone and he's back. And he's just like, oh, I'm back. And then just go on with what they're talking about. So it was kind of just a waste of time on the Flash. But on Supergirl was a bigger deal, obviously. I actually thought the episode was pretty weak, except for Kara and
there you go.
And Barry talking. Them interacting and stuff was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I love seeing them together. Like, they work really well off each other and stuff. So I thought, like, their chemistry was great. Just the episode itself, I thought was kind of lame.
Their chemistry was awesome. I'm sure they probably won't do another crossover, but if they did,
maybe
I'd be on board.
I thought it was great. Like, they were so awkward and adorable together. Like, I thought they worked well so much. Like, the chemistry was perfect. And it's just, it was such a good episode. It was very lighthearted for the most part, and the way that they felt together was great. And then the rest of the episode, was a little weak, but I did like Silver Banshee, whatever. I thought she looked great.
She did
the
look
character
really cool.
was,
Yeah, the backstory was a little
What's her name again?
lacking.
Siobhan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're cursed and we're Irish.
I hated
so,
Siobhan as a character.
The episode following, when was a really good emotional ride. I think introducing Red Kryptonite and stuff with Kara and everything.
That was a great episode.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Cool wardrobe choices too.
Yeah, right.
I love that when they get to go evil and they're like, by the way, I'm gonna dress hot now.
Yeah. And there's there's a big fallout from that. Like, this whole city doesn't trust her now. Like, that was cool. That was a nice little twist on
in
the
World's Finest. So
right.
It was a good little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice little twist on there.
As far as like the best emotional moment for me for the entire season was probably when Kara comes out of the Red Kryptonite days and she sees that she broke what's her name's arm, and she just instantly starts crying, and it's just there was so much heart there.
Oh yeah, I
and
agree.
it's like that. It's testament to Melissa Benoist's acting abilities as Supergirl, and I thought it was a really, really strong moment for her. It was my favorite emotional part of the whole season, so that was great.
The Black Mercy episode for the girl who has everything.
I loved
that. Was really
that.
good.
That was really
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
I did like that.
Based off of the Superman story. Yeah, that was handled really well, I think.
Yeah.
That's one of the nice things about the show revolving around Supergirl too, is like the difference between Supergirl and Smallville. Smallville, you sort of only get Earth and like his path once he's here,
Right.
whereas Supergirl's been half here, half on Krypton. So you really, like, she knows what she's missing.
Yeah.
She wasn't just raised here as a baby and this is all she's known. Like, she knows exactly the people that have died. She knows, and like grew up with them. She knows like world-wise, like the differences. She remembers like different creatures and stuff. She remembers like having a home and all the cool things she's missing out on. And that was one of those episodes that was really, really apparent in, because it's the whole ripping her out of heaven and stuff that they were talking about.
Definitely really emotionally effective, and then having Alex having to go in there and try and save her. I thought that all worked really well.
That was good. The whole Alex like talking to the mom hologram though was pretty weak as far as her acting.
She
that was not
that
that
character,
great.
like, I like the actress and I like some of the stuff, like her relationship with Kara is great and everything. Just she makes really stupid decisions and she's really over dramatic sometimes.
Yeah.
She does cry for no reason sometimes. I agree.
There's
But
a
for the
lot of
most part,
crying.
yeah.
There's a lot of
Right.
crying.
It was a good episode as a whole though.
Yeah,
I did
I
like
agree.
it. Although one of my favorite episodes as far as emotion goes was Bizarro.
Really?
Even though I
Yeah.
did not like the fact that they even used Bizarro in any capacity, that is Superman's villain. Like,
Sure.
it translates. I get it. Didn't
She
like
only
it.
had like a tinge of derp going on. Not full derp.
Not full derp.
Yeah, I just liked her connection to it and all that stuff, and I
Well,
thought
okay,
that was
but they
really
kind
good.
of did. They changed Livewire's whole origin story to be Supergirl as well. Like, it was pretty much the same thing,
Right.
but they did it with her
Yeah.
instead. It was similar.
Okay, we're going to go on to the negatives. We'll try and get through this pretty quick. So, Supergirl's powers are like inexcusably inconsistent in the show. She gets caught in quicksand in an episode.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? Supergirl gets caught in quicksand?
Yeah, that was
She can't
ridiculous.
fly in space?
Yeah, that
even though they
bothers
What?
me.
even though they said, oh, you might be stronger than your cousin, it's like if you're stronger than
only
your
on
cousin,
Earth.
No.
you can totally fly in space.
I
Oh,
think
there is
that
no
was really
gravity in
stupid.
space, so you're not going to be able to fly. What?
Yeah, it was,
That was-
you can't generate thrust. I was like,
If Superman has been
yeah.
able to generate thrust this whole time, then she
Right.
certainly can.
And
Right.
she can't breathe in space. I'm like, but, she doesn't breathe like us though. She doesn't need
Right.
to breathe. She can be underwater just like Superman. She could be in the vacuum
Well, but
of space.
that's happened
Yeah.
a couple times
Like,
where
she's
she's
fine.
like without air, and
When
I
she's
don't.
getting choked out.
Yeah,
and it's
I don't
like, what?
understand.
Yeah, it's just very inconsistent with how
Yeah.
strong she is or how weak she is.
Right.
Like, it just doesn't add up. Hopefully, if the show comes back, they'll be able to improve on that kind of thing. Okay, I want to talking about the handling of Superman here. Bad.
Really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying earlier to you that they first off don't say his name in the first episode at all, and then like 9-10 minutes into the second episode, they finally said it, and I like felt like I was holding my breath that whole time, being like, oh, okay, cool, Man in Blue, Man of Steel, yep, your cousin, the whatever. Like they were going through all of
Right.
them, like to the point where like I couldn't think of anything else.
Yeah.
It was like obvious that they were trying not to say Superman,
Right.
and then they finally said it, and I was like, oh my god.
So they try to have him in the show without him actually being in the show, which is a completely backwards decision. If you want to really focus on Supergirl, which is what the showrunners and writers and everything have been talking about, then just say he's off-world or something.
And they do in one episode.
But then he comes right
And then he
back.
comes back,
He
yeah.
comes back a couple minutes later. Just
Yeah.
say he's been off-world or something for
Right.
like a few months. He hasn't been there. And then when you eventually are getting around to casting Superman, if you want to actually be a minor character on the show, then you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But having him in these little, you see him from far away, he's flying right towards, in the penultimate episode, he's flying like right towards Kara, and then he like just drops down.
He drops down.
Like,
starts
are you
walking.
serious? And then nobody
Yeah.
worries about him until later.
Right.
And then his mind is affected because he was raised on Earth by the Myriad.
That was so
Are you kidding me?
stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's never really a fully formed episode. Like there's some stuff like the Red Kryptonite episode and the Bizarro episode that like the emotional highs of the episode are great and I totally get sucked into it. I am on board, like sucked in with those emotional moments. But once you're outside of that, like the actual story comes in and it kind of tanks an episode sometimes, you know what I mean?
I don't know, like they've got the formula down a little bit that needs some tweaking. They they've got room to grow, but I feel like it's there. Like they've got the
I
good
think-
stuff that's
I
there
agree.
that they can build off of.
They can build off and make it better, I think.
I think there's a lot of potential, a lot of wasted potential for this show. Fire a couple of the writers. Like,
That could be
seriously,
a-
some of that writing is really bad.
I agree. I like Supergirl overall. I want to see it come back for season 2. I want to see it improve. I think it has room to improve.
Yeah, it
So,
does.
final thoughts on Supergirl.
I like it. I want to see season 2.
It's okay. Season 2 would be better if it was on like the CW. There's a lot of potential, and it has a lot of growing to do for me
It
to
does.
really be okay with it. Like, if I don't see it next year, I don't care. Like,
Right.
oh well.
Supergirl, I think, would fit really well in the CW universe. I mean, it's got that lightheartedness that kind of Flash does, and I think having those two characters cross over more, if they were in like the same universe, I think would make for some great TV.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's unfortunate that we probably might not see that because it hasn't been announced if it's going to be renewed yet.
Oh, hey guys, it's Heather. I'm here at the heart and soul of Channel Awesome, and I'm here to talk to Jim, who is also kind of the heart and soul of Channel Awesome. He is the set designer, costume designer, guy who does all the things. We're going to check out some of the costumes from the Batman v Superman Nostalgia Critic review that just came out last week. It was awesome. You guys did a great job. So let's check out some of the costumes.
The stock Superman costume was just a costume that we had. We've used it for the Man of Steel review and stuff like that too. So just use that.
So this is the Batman costume that you ended up with?
Exactly. So it's just a cheap muscle suit from a costume store, and then a cheap long sleeve T-shirt from a thrift store. So this is just a piece of craft foam that I cut out in the shape and with some fabric adhesive glued right to there. This is just the Keaton one that I had to open up the jaw line a bit and cut off the symbol and cut the ears down. And as you can see, like, yeah, the ears aren't staying together, but yeah, there's nothing really sticks to latex other than more latex. So I didn't have enough time to rebuild the latex after I cut it down with some mask building latex. So it's just double-sided tape that's kind of holding the ears. So unfortunately, during the review, Doug was constantly having to pinch the ears back and keep them from popping open. So then, yeah, Wonder Woman.
That was my favorite costume that you guys had. It looked awesome.
Corset we used, I think, in the Hocus Pocus review. It was worn by Beth. It was a different color. I just spray painted it red, and then using some craft foam, I quickly cut out some patterns and stuff like that and shapes, and literally just kind of velcroed it right to the costume. The belt, same thing. It's just craft foam attached to a belt, and then this cheap crown I had lying around, turned upside down. That was her headband with some craft foam on it. So.
Is that a garbage lid?
The shield is just a garbage can lid that we used as one of the drum tops for the Mad Max review. That I just quickly, whatever, so she could hold it, like put some string and zip ties on her so she could hold it.
So Jim, what is your favorite costume that you've made for any Nostalgia Critic review?
That's a tough one, but I think that the Curiosa costume that I made for Tamara for the Mad Max review was probably my favorite. That one came together super well. It was another like really quick thing, but like the mechanical arm and just how great Tamara looked in that costume. That was like the most rewarding, I think, like making that one and how it all came together. She felt great as the character and in the costume, and that's exactly what you want as a costume maker. Like you want the character to immediately immerse yourself, like be that character when they put the costume on. So that was, that's by far, I think, my favorite.
So thanks a lot for talking to us today, Jim. Back to you guys in the studio. Although we are in the studio. Yeah. So.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Okay, we're going to run down a couple quick news items right now. First thing, Killing Joke, the animated movie, has been confirmed to be rated R. They are going to go all out with this thing. I am so excited. I don't think it absolutely had to be rated R to make it a great movie, but this is going to make sure that they can stick to the comic and really go as far as they have to with this. So what do you guys think of rated R Killing Joke? Ayanna?
We've seen rated R totally works comic book wise, so I have
Deadpool.
all my I have all my faith in it.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
even if they don't have to go all the way with it, I don't think they'll push it by
Oh,
any means.
absolutely not.
But it's nice to have the freedom to do what they need to do.
Right.
I know Bruce Timm was saying, like, he's like, we didn't have it in mind, like, we need to go R. He's like, the studio said, you have the opening for an R. He's like, so if we happen to get there in the process of making this film, so be it. But we're not pushing for it. And that is the best way to look at a movie
Absolutely.
like that. If you have the content where you could go into R, but if you're just trying to make it as good as possible and you happen to be in R, that's it. Don't go for an R because you want to go for an R. Go for making the movie, and whatever happens, happens.
Right.
That's the best way to do it. And so I'm super excited. I cannot wait.
That's what I'm looking forward to, that out of anything that's coming out this
Oh, yeah.
summer or
Absolutely.
fall or whenever it's coming out. Okay, next news item. Sci-Fi, the channel Sci-Fi, is close to securing a deal on a pilot order for David S. Goyer's Superman prequel series Krypton, which is supposed to be set, which is supposed to be set in the Man of Steel universe, and it's going to center on Superman's grandfather, because everyone wants to see that, as he fights for the shamed and ostracized House of El. According to Variety, the series will be set 2 generations before Superman's home planet was destroyed. So I don't want to see this whatsoever.
Not at all.
What do you guys think of Krypton on Sci-Fi?
I don't care in the slightest, like ever.
The last news item here, Robert Downey Jr. has been confirmed to be in Spider-Man Homecoming. That's exciting news. In some form or another, he's going to have some kind of role in Spider-Man Homecoming. That's great. Also, Michael Keaton, those villain rumors that were out a couple weeks ago, that may be done because there are reports out right now that he is not
Left
going
talks.
to be,
Yeah.
he left talks for it. He's not going to be in the movie. So what do you guys think of Michael Keaton out, Robert Downey Jr. in?
Well, it depends who they get instead of Michael Keaton. Like, might be someone cooler. We don't know.
Yeah, I would love to see
Yeah.
Beetlejuice and Spider-Man. I mean, what? I just think he's a great actor, and I think he could do bad well. So, I mean, want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Like, I just thought it would have been cool to see him, but I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
there's so much
Well,
that
Robert
we
Downey
can.
Jr. though is still gonna.
Oh, yeah.
be
I'm
amazing.
Even if
glad
he's in a
he's gonna be in
cameo,
there, yeah.
Right.
like,
I'm
I
glad
think
he's
it
going to be in there.
helps tie it in. I think it's great.
Right, I agree with that. Okay, we're going to go on to the pick of the week here. It is Supergirl related. This is a heavy book to suggest, and you might want to read up a little bit on it before you read this, but this is the big one, man. This is Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now, the reason why I'm picking Crisis on Infinite Earths for the Supergirl pick of the week is because Supergirl famously dies in this book. I mean, it's on the cover. It's not a spoiler. It is on the cover. This is like 30 years old. So if you haven't figured that one out by now, sorry. But yeah, this is a really interesting story. It rebooted the DC universe, and they've done it like 7 times since then.
Especially with her origin, like
Right.
she has a lot.
Yeah,
of
she has a
different
lot of different origins, a lot of different
personalities.
starting points for that character and personalities and stuff, right? So this is where she dies for I think the first time, and she was gone for a while afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to see the last moments of this version of Supergirl, I think you should check this out. It's a good read. It's confusing at some parts.
Take
but
some notes.
Take some notes, something like that. But it's worth it to check it out, and it's a big piece of comic book history. So check out Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's my comic book pick of the week. Look, I'm looking at that comic book. You guys happy yet? Okay.
We're gonna get there.
Right.
We're gonna get there.
But this is something for you guys. Now, a lot of comments I've seen, people want to see our favorite DC animated movies. Well, next week, that is what we're going to give you. Our favorite DC animated movies are going to be coming to Awesome Comics next week. I'm so excited for that. That is much more of my forte. I love the animated stuff, and I love to talk about it. So we're going to talk about that next week on the show. Okay, Porter, where can we find you on the social medias?
Facebook.com/awesomeporter.
Okay, Ayana?
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all there.
Where is it? Is it
Right here.
lower thirds? That's what we call it in the biz. Okay, you can follow me on Twitter at awesome_Walter for all your Zack Snyder needs, as I played on the Nostalgia Critic last week. That was a lot of fun.
Go watch that if you haven't seen it.
Go watch
What are
that.
you
It's a lot
doing?
of fun.
Go watch it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Okay, everybody, so until next week, we'll be talking about DC animated movies. Come back for that. So until then, for these people here, I'm Walter Banasiak, and we will see you on the next page.